Hello everyone, this is HTheSky here, and we are back with the second round of the WCG qualifiers. This is for the North American, and yes, this is going to be the second qualifier. If you guys did not watch the first qualifier, it is posted on my channel. Idra going to be the winner of that first one. Not a huge surprise, though. He was definitely a fan favorite, as well as a player favorite overall to go ahead and win that one. So now that that's out of the way, we are on the second one. So spawning down here on the bottom left side, if you're wondering what this name is, Fnatic MSI KR. The KR does stand for KawaiiRice, and he is going to be your Terran player. The rest of the other stuff is just his clan that he's in, and sponsored by MSI there. So not a whole lot room left for KawaiiRice. So he is KR, which does not stand for Korea. And his opponent is going to be ONEGatored, and one's going to be his clan. Gatored is going to be his name, and I guess that is the act of gatoring someone. So regardless, if you guys missed the last series, you definitely want to check that out. But if you did miss that, essentially what this is for WCG is their qualifying rounds for the national finals of North America. And everyone out there can participate in these. This could be you in the finals. I could be casting your games. And if you're up to it, there is going to be a link down below. The URL for that is us.wcg.com. Registration is free, and the qualifiers are going to go all the way through September 18th. So we do have a lot of qualifying rounds ahead of us, and this is only the second one. I believe there is going to be 8 in all, and that is absolutely awesome. And the winner of that, again, they do go participate in the national finals, which will give you your chance to go and play on the world stage against the best Koreans and the best players from around the rest of the world as well. So that's exactly what these two players right now are vying for, as this is the finals, and the winner of this advances. The loser, well, better luck next time. The map is going to be Crossfire, which is a map you don't see nearly as much as a lot of the other maps, say like Tal'Darim Altar. So if you are not familiar with this map, your natural is going to be right here, right outside of your base, and then it's essentially a maze all the way through the center of the map. There's tons of different ways you can go, like around here, or you can veer more to the right side and go up and around over here, and then there's a high yield expansion. It is a very wacky map in any matchup, simply because the rush distance across the map takes you about a year and a half. You will celebrate 2 birthdays by the time you get down to your opponent's base, and it also has a lot to do with positioning. Now, one thing you'll look out for, especially with a Terran player, is a lot of times they try and get this high ground right here on their opponent, just because it essentially locks down their natural and they slowly push down there. And on top of that, very difficult for Protoss to get out of their bases. So anytime you see a Terran on this map, a lot of times siege tanks are used. Not necessarily in TVP, though, as you don't see that nearly as much. Right now, it does look like KawaiiRice is going to be going for 2 racks. You can easily put pressure on with a 2 racks build. This is a build that is decent in just about every matchup, simply because you get out units, and then you can cut units whenever you want to expand. So we'll see if KawaiiRice is going to attempt to break his opponent with this, or if he will use it for an expansion. However, KawaiiRice does have that Marauder slow on the way, as well as his first Marauder, and continuing to produce Marines here. So it does look like he will be some sort of aggressive, and it does look like his SCV will be spotted here. Stalker should be able to take him out, unless that SCV gets lucky, although Stalkers are pretty fast, should be able to catch up to him there, although he is making a mad dash into the main base, but does get taken out. I don't believe he has seen this expansion, which KawaiiRice would be very happy about this should he have seen it. Has the Protoss seen what's going on? Not really. Only seen the standard opener there, and he apparently has 3 idle workers, so needs to make sure to get those back to work, as he is going to be having a lot of aggressive units at his base pretty soon. So we're going to want to keep an eye on the production tab here. Is KawaiiRice going to continue making these units and push out with them? Yes, he is. He has 3 SCVs on the way. The push has commenced. However, ONEGatored is going to be able to spot this. His watchtower probe is like, oh, brother, I better get home and tell everyone about this. Second Zealot at this watchtower will begin heading home, and Gatored knows exactly what's going to be on the way. You can see he's trying to chrono boost out this warp gate, which is delayed. You can see, well, I would have shown you the time, but with the recent patch, it does take longer to get that. That's why he decided to go ahead and throw out another chrono boost on that. His second gateway just now finishing. He He does have a third one on the way, but is he going to be able to hang on to this Nexus? I believe that KawaiiRice will most likely start setting up bunkers. He's waiting for this Nexus to finish, and he's going to attempt to take it down. He does not have Stimpak research, as it does take 170 in-game seconds, and all of a sudden Gatored, realizing, okay, well, this is going to be extremely difficult to hold off, has pulled off probes, is attempting to save this Nexus for as long as he can. Guardian Shield going to be reducing that incoming damage. He wants to keep his melee units on the ground inside the Guardian Shield as long as possible, and the bunker is not completed at all, so as long as Gatored can prevent that bunker from going down, he may be able to hold this off. However, at what cost? A lot of probes have already been destroyed. KawaiiRice microing closer to these ranged units, but not doing a very good job of staying away from the Zealots. The Zealots doing a surprising amount of damage here. You can see both Zealots have several kills, and the Nexus is going to stand. It looks like there is one more Marauder coming up here for reinforcements, but really this is just to pick off as many units as possible, and KawaiiRice attempting to do as much damage as possible here, but you can see the long rush distance giving the Protoss player just enough time to hold that off. However, KawaiiRice during that engagement started his +1, as well as his second command center completed, with the orbital command going to be on the way as well. So if we do look at the units lost tab here, the Protoss player ending up losing more in that engagement than KawaiiRice. 9 workers killed to the 4 that KawaiiRice brought up there, including his scouting unit. And if we do look at the units tab here, KawaiiRice does have an SCV lead, which is one really good thing about the build that KawaiiRice did. Like I said, you can expand off of it, and at the same time, even though he didn't delay that Nexus, he did kill those workers, evening out the score a little bit. So even though he lost that army, he is not too far behind, especially now since he's landing his command center here. He has 2 more workers than his opponent. He just needs to make sure to transfer them over here in just a second, which I assume he will do, as this is one lonely command center down here. Or he may set a rally point to that expansion and go ahead and just rally the new workers down there. So at this stage of the game, it's definitely fairly even, I would say, even though Gatored held it off and KawaiiRice did end up losing that army. I mean, Gatored wears his army to show for what he has left in the game. I mean, it's only 4 sentries, 2 zealots, and a stalker. That's not really enough to kill his opponent. However, he did wisely spend that additional gas on sentries, so should KawaiiRice decide to move out, then that should buy Gatored enough time with those force fields to get up the army that he'll need. It looks like KawaiiRice wisely throwing down a missile turret. The reason he's doing this is because a desperation transition that a lot of Protoss players will do is they get a Dark Shrine and try and ruin your day with DTs. That is not what we are going to be seeing from our Protoss player. We actually have a robotics, so playing it completely standard. Gotta be going ahead and getting that robotics. Could easily go for Colossus if he wanted, but for now we'll most likely be getting out that Observer to see exactly what KawaiiRice is going to follow this up with. However, the Protoss player should know the basic gist of what's going to be headed his way, and that's going to be those very common Marine and Marauder with a potential for Medivacs and possibly Vikings. But KawaiiRice, the nice thing about that attack he did is it does delay his opponent's tech quite a bit, so the Colossus tech could be on the way right now should it have been a standard game with no harassment or damage dealt. But KawaiiRice, since he did do that damage, forced a lot of additional units, and as well as killing additional probes, that allows him to get out these medevacs before having to go for any sort of desperation Vikings to deal with a Colossus rush or anything like that. And then once the Colossus are on the way, he'll be able to start up that Viking production should it come down to it. And this factory just awkwardly hovering above the starport, pretending to be that medevac, but he is of course not, no matter how hard he tries. But yeah, this is really a really good position for KawaiiRice to be in, just because the timing of the starport is so crucial in TVP. If you can get out 4 to 6 medevacs before having to get out any Vikings for the Colossus, but you can see the robotics bait just now starting, then KawaiiRice can not only punish his opponent with drops, but can also, of course, heal that army and keep it alive as much as possible. Looks like he's going to try and put on some pressure here as well before his opponent Gatored is going to be prepared for it. And Gatored up here looking to expand potentially in the top left side, also going to be using that to spot for any sort of drops. And it does look like the Watchtower will be, I mean, it was spotted here by Gatored, so he knows what's heading his way. This poor Zealot, though, getting blasted away, and that Marauder gives up on him, doesn't slow him too much more. Looks like Gatored wants to get in position to deal with this. So KawaiiRice taking a very intelligent way across the map. Unfortunately, he is running up here, which there's nothing up there to kill, so he's just buying time for his opponent to prepare for this. But if he attacks from this location, it's much more difficult to use those force fields, simply because it's in the much wider open area. Now, the Stalker not really doing a good job of what he was assigned to do, because this medevac will drop inside the main base. The problem, though, for KawaiiRice is that he did not hide, I mean, he's hiding in the main base, but he's not attacking the front with his other units. So he may try and drop, and with just this handful of units, this most likely will be held off. I mean, you can see Gatored already has stalkers here ready for something like this, and KawaiiRice really needs to put pressure on in the front, and then that alerts the Protoss player to, hey, you're being attacked down here, and then if you then attack the mineral line with these units at the same time, they may not notice it. So one Marauder over here, I don't think KawaiiRice realizes he's attacking all of this, and there we go, Stims to run out of there, and he is going to have to fly away. 2 Vikings are going to be on the way, so did he get out 4? Nope, only 2 medevacs total. So I don't know if that's going to be enough to heal this Marine Marauder army of KawaiiRice, but now he is forced to start that Viking production. Gatored is working on his Thermal Lance as well as 1 armor and 1 attack, which Gatored is playing this out very, very well, I would say. You can see he is putting up a pylon right here inside the base, just a spot for exactly anything that could be headed his way, and it looks like the pylon may get taken out. Not sure if KawaiiRice is going to back out, but really not worth losing any units for killing just 1 pylon. May be able to get it, though, as it is getting dangerously low on HP. +1/+1 is done for KawaiiRice, and this is a tense moment simply because the upgrades are really going to start kicking in for a Protoss player. Once you get that Thermal Lance, and once a Protoss player starts getting 1 or 2 armor on their units, even if the Terran player does have that plus attack, it just seems like the Terran or the Protoss army survives just a little bit longer, and it allows the Colossus just to roast away with that Thermal Lance. Attack upgrade so good for Colossus. We do have Templar Archives as well. But the problem for Gatored is that he is stuck on 2 base when at the same time Fnatic MSI KR, also known as KawaiiRice, is going to be expanding to the bottom right side. There is a Zealot there to kind of block this for a little bit, as well as this proxy pylon set up now. And this will just be to warp units down here to attack this location. This map is very peculiar in that securing a 3rd base is very wonky at best, simply because it is so far away. I mean, look how far away this 3rd base is from your main base. So whoever can get up a 3rd base, a lot of times on this map, it will play a huge role. So this Zealot pretending to be a burrowed Zergling by preventing that command center from landing, and this medevac really needs to get out of there. It will indeed skirt out of there, and KawaiiRice going for the +2 attack for ground, +1 attack for his air units. So that's just going to be for taking out the Colossus, essentially, is really all that's going to be used for. He does have 4 Vikings on the way. Needs to make sure not to make too many Vikings, which if we do look at the production tab, this is really interesting by Gatored. You can see he only made 2 Colossus and is instead spending the remaining of his resources on upgrades and Psystorm. This is a brilliant move because KawaiiRice is cranking out these Vikings and they're going to be worthless. Yeah, they'll basically one-shot the Colossus, but what do you have to deal with the Psystorm other than having your army eat it and all dying, which is not an ideal situation. Supply counts, though, 177 for KawaiiRice. He is supply blocked to 141 for the Protoss player, who is not supply blocked, but having more units tends to be better in StarCraft. The worker count's going to be fairly even here. Both players macroing up at 60+ workers apiece, and if we do look at the income tab, it should favor KawaiiRice if he has some mules going, or he may just have better saturation overall, and yes, he does perfect saturation, really, at each location because he has not secured this expansion for Gatored. He definitely will need to transfer those probes over ASAP and get that underway, but KawaiiRice is going to be maxed out here any moment. However, he is going to be going against a 2-attack, 2-armor Protoss player. KawaiiRice wisely going to be getting out some ghosts here for that EMP and immediately starts the ship weapons level 2. I don't think he's going to be too happy when he realizes there's only 2 Colossus, but I would definitely heavily favor KawaiiRice in this as long as he doesn't eat too many Psystorms. And I'm trying to see, are there High Templar on the field? There is 4, with 2 more it looks like warping in right now, so a total of 6. I don't know how much energy they're going to have. Most of them will not have enough energy for more than 1 storm. Looks like since they're fresh on the field, High Templar just barely getting enough for 1 storm apiece. So it's going to come down to these storms. I don't know if there's a ghost in this army to EMP, but the angle is not going to be good for KawaiiRice because he's going to run directly into the storms. Nice storm placement there, forcing the Terran army to run away into them. And the Vikings, as I said, not really playing a huge role here. They were able to kill that. He is forced to land those Vikings because they serve no purpose other than to kill the Colossus, but none of them remain. And again, the unit composition heavily favoring the Protoss in the fact that he completely stopped Colossus production, is going to go for these beefy Archons, which now have that +3 range rather than 2. Well, I guess not +3, but total of 3 range. And at the same time, KawaiiRice trying to lock down this expansion, able to kill quite a few workers in that, but KawaiiRice losing a lot of units. So it's going to come down to who can macro up that army again in that engagement, because, I mean, in that engagement, they ended up losing